Xcom Chimera Squad comes out on the 24th of April. The Xcom franchise is a fantastic turn-based strategy series, and it does actually relate very well to Warhammer 40,000, or in fact Kill Team. At the time of recording this, both Xcom Enemy Unknown and Xcom 2 have got minus 75% off on Steam. So, having played both games, I decided to give my opinion on whether both games are good enough to play during this lockdown period. So, taking a look at Xcom Enemy Unknown, the game was initially released back in 2012 as a re-release when I believe it was 2K Games actually took over some of the old, I think it's called Farahacks. Oh, I can't remember. But effectively, their games went back into, I believe it was 1994, as an XCOM-based series, mainly always turn-based, and the formula didn't really change. As always with XCOM, you are placed in control of an elite team. This particular team normally comprises of about 4 men, but can be later upgraded to 6, and each particular person going into the combat can get either injured, be taken out for several game turns, or days as they sometimes refer to it on their strategic map, and of course they can be killed and be taken out permanently. The units can also be upgraded, and they can also level up, a bit like any sort of RPG. The similarities to 40k begin when you actually start to get into the game itself. When you start doing a lot of the standard missions, don't get me wrong, there's 2 real parts to this game. There's more of a overall strategic, and then of course there's the XCOM squad that you have to command. That plays very much like a tabletop game. It's all turn-based. A lot of it is percentage-based when it comes to trying to shoot particular units, and each unit can take so much damage before it's rendered either dead or incapacitated. Your squad as well can be given special abilities, allowing people to be able to be healed, or whether or not you can, certain units can aid others in trying to get line of sight or tagging other units. It's a bit very much like playing Warhammer 40k Kill Team. The only real downside to this particular game is it's very random on what classes your actual guys level up to be. So normally they all start off as your basic SO, and then after the SO particular period, they become like an elite, like a heavy, a sniper. But a lot of the time that can be quite random. There is ways of having training so that you know what particular route certain soldiers are going to take, but it's still not as effective. If you like your heavy weapons, you might end up with a load of snipers. That, by and by, though, will be down to the tactics on the actual player itself playing the games. Now, I got to play the Xbox version. It once actually came on Xbox Live for free, so you could just download it, which I did, and it was a fantastic game. I really, really enjoyed it. I find it difficult to get some of the expansions, though, for the Xbox version. I may even actually purchase it on PC just so I can actually get some more of the different games that came out. I believe there was an expansion called, or an expansion pack called Enemy Within. That came out for the game. I believe if you've got PlayStation, you can get that quite easy. I've not really seen it on the Xbox One store, but it might just be me being blind. Now, another little downside for myself in this is that you can't really have one-off games against a computer. There is a multiplayer mode for one-on-one tactical battles, and it's one of those where I think if you're really, really good at the game, go out there and play a random person. If you're just starting out, maybe make sure that another friend has it, and then just have one-on-one battles going from there. It would be nice to have some form of sim box option where you don't have to play the campaign to be able to get these individual battles, but that's just how the game is. Now, if you were to buy either or, XCOM 2 is going to be it. XCOM 2 is a fantastically paced, turn-based action game. A lot of the buildings can be entered in this one. There's a lot more stealth when you're actually beginning certain missions. And there's a lot more in your abilities. Your classes are a lot more distinct from each other, not just really with weapon types, but with certain abilities, certain looks. And I'll be honest with you, in this one, you're not spending majority of your time trying to buy armor for every single person in your team. It's worth noting with XCOM 2, it's probably worth getting the expansion with the additional factions and the additional character classes that you can get. Plus, it also adds mini boss levels to your game. A lot of the original one was kind of like a boss level in certain units. The avatar units, for example, could be quite difficult to take out. But once you started to know how to take those on, they became quite easy to eliminate. But as a turn-based tactical shooter, many have tried, none have ever surpassed. It's brilliant. It's such an engrossing game. You've still got the outside elements of the actual turn base. And I think if you're on Steam, you can actually play some other people's custom-made missions, depending, of course, upon the mods that you get for the game. But it is still based around that campaign. Campaign's a bit more freeform. It is still a bit more up to you, but you are on a time limit. Some of the missions are on a time limit or a turn base, which differs from the first game, where the first game you really kind of had an unlimited time frame to be able to get done what you needed to get done. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not me reviewing the game. These are not reviews. These are just seeing whether or not these are really good replacements for the plastic crack or the urge to play 40k. They are brilliant first person. Well, I'm saying first person, I meant single player, idiot. They are really good single player games for you to be able to scratch that tactical itch. The turn based also means that it feels very much like a war game. It doesn't feel like you're playing a turn based strategy where everything's happening at once and sometimes you can get confused. You can take your time, you can check out your units, you can decide what you're going to do and develop your tactics from there. The XCOM series is well worth a look, especially, like I say, in these times of lockdown as I'm recording this that we are currently in. It's a good replacement. It's a good filler. And if you can't get hold of anyone to be able to play, or if no one in your household actually plays any particular games, or you can't get access to anyone on Tabletop Tactics, it's a fantastic way to just make sure that you're exercising your brain muscles. And that's it for my incoherent ramblings today. Definitely recommend buying XCOM. If you're only going to buy one, get XCOM 2. I'm not sure what the new one's going to be like. I might have a go of that once it gets released. And then when I've played it, I'll be able to tell you whether or not it's any good. I know it's a little bit different. You've got particular members of a squad. They've all got character names, whereas in the original XCOMs, you could name your own squaddies. This is going to be a little bit more. You've got to try and keep these guys alive. And I know they've changed the turn sequence from being, it's a bit more like Necromunda, where it's I go, you go, I go, you go, rather than it being it's my turn, it's your turn. But please, give it a look, give XCOMs a go, especially for the cheap price. I mean, it's less than £5 for XCOM Enemy Unknown at this moment in time on Steam. I'm not sure what the prices are on the Xbox, I'll have a look, but the cracking games and the last for hours, and of course the replayability. You just turn up the you can just turn up your difficulty level. They're great games. Well, thank you very much for listening to my ramblings. I've said that already, and I'm rambling again. So please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button if you want to see more. Stay safe out there, stay clean, stay healthy. We'll get to play 40k soon, guys. You know we will.